I'm from the island of St. Kitts. Now it's called St. Kitts Nevis, and one of the smaller islands in the Caribbean. We've come from a large family, and I've had another brother who came here before I did, so I came over to join him. My name is Len Bass. Actually, my Len is for Leonard, and I came to the UK just before I was 22, 1966. So that tells you my age.
I came to England from Trinidad in 1957.
My name is Renel Douglas. I'm from SKN in the Caribbean. I came here when I was about 10, 11 years old. That's around 1962, 63. I grew up in Birmingham, not in London. I'm a lecturer by profession, but I'm retired now.
I was born in Cuba. I'm brought up in Jamaica. When I was one, I come to Jamaica when I was one. Until I come to England, 1960. My name is Arturo Peguero.
My name's Pearl Donna May Smith, and I'm an artist. I live in London, where I was born and bred in Wolverhampton, good old Wolves. 1964, I'm giving me age away, the year of the dragon, Bruce Lee.
Hi, my name's Ace, and I'm an urban motivational speaker. I've been working in the community for over a decade, working on different community organisations and different community projects. I'm third generation Windrush. My grandparents came over here in the 50s and then slowly sent for my parents, and then my parents had me over here, so I'm third generation Windrush.
My name is Joanna Edward. I'm a community activist, run an organisation called Prospects Kensington Limited. It's an education and training organisation essentially, but we do a lot of community work here as well. As professionally, I'm a lecturer IT and business studies, and also I've been a borough councillor at the council for some years. I'm now retired from the council. So that's my background. Obviously, I'm from the second Windrush generation. My parents would have come over on the Windrush, and I came over as a second generation, a very young child.
In 1954, about 10,000 West Indians came to Britain. In 1955, it is believed another 15,000 will make the long journey. Already their coming has caused a national controversy, but one point must always be borne in mind. Whatever our feelings, we cannot deny them entry, for all are British citizens and, as such, are entitled to the identical rights of any member of the Empire.
It was because of my friend. I had a very close friend in Trinidad, and it so happened at the time they were recruiting nurses to England, and she was one of those who went in for and was lucky enough to get through. Oh, bad lucky. All the same, she came up, and she was, well, we missed each other, and she kept writing and telling me, please come, because what happened with her, she came up on the Senator Colchester, the nurse in there, and she hadn't seen no black faces or no one. And she was missing home and her family, and she kept saying to me, come up. And I did. After she'd been here a year, I did come up. And she met me. She had a cousin at the time who used to live in Powis Square. And she met me there at Paddington Station and went to Powis Square. At the time, I did not know anything about Rackman or where I was living or anything like that. But it so happened it was in one of Rackman's houses.
When I first came over, the children were unruly in school. They shouted at their parents, they spat on their parents, and they spat on us, other children. So the children were very unruly. They would fob on our clothes on the way to school, and the adults would call us the N-word. It made me feel that I need to learn English properly. I need to understand what the society was about, and I needed to get out of the country as fast as possible once I was grown up.
I come over here when I was 9 years old, and basically, like, when I come over, I went to various schools here. I went for some nurseries down here. Then I went to Holland Park, and then I went out to Southampton, just to learn stuff. I had a great upbringing from my mother. And, my mum's got 5 sisters, and I learned through all of their sisters. Since I've been here for I'm now 58 now, and I'm basically like I've been here all this time, and the government start to like turn around and wanna chuck me out of the country, So like I've been fighting them over 8 years now, and basically like I had to get hold of the Windrush generation to find out what's going on, and if I was involved with everything, because I was so young when I come over, and then basically they say yes, you're definitely involved with the Windrush generation. So they pushed through to the Home Office to fight my case, and basically I won my case, and I got if you can see, to get out one of these. If you don't have one of these, a Windrush generation. This is the Windrush generation card. You must have one of these cards. Yeah, and this card entitles you to stay here, entitles you to sign on, entitles you to work, and stay here for as long as you want. And you get passport afterwards when you want to get that, receive that. But you must have one of these.
Became an inspectorate and would be giving orders to the inspectors in the field. Some young men came in from college to take up the foreman job, etc., and then they put me to train them. So I refused to do that and went to work in nights as a result of that. So I had that battle of racism where I worked. Then was made redundant and went into, I was still studying, so I studied social education to work with delinquent youth, black youth.
First when I come to England, I used to work for Lions Tea Shop. Then I moved on I went to Wandsworth College for a term to do, at that time we call it radio TV, for Decca, Queenstown Road, Battersea. And I do that for about 10 years. Then I move on to another company in Edgware Road named Genito. They make hospital equipment, like diathermy and the things like those, hospital equipment. And I lived there in 1973.
The contributions the Windrush generation has made to this area are, for example, Westway Development Trust was originally Amenity Trust, but before that, before it was taken over by the council, it was actually, who set up a committee and all the rest of it, it was actually built by the Windrush generation with their bare hands. For example, there's a culture of apprenticeships and teaching from the Caribbean and passing on your skills to the next generation. They brought that with them from the Caribbean. So you find that where the mechanics are now under the Westway, that was the Morley Kentish and the rest of them who built up, who were teaching, training the young people to do mechanics, but they actually built up the flyover themselves. They built Unity Restaurant with their bare hands. The Unity Restaurant was the construction service that they did, and they taught the young people how to build. They built, I think Westway Housing Trust came out of that actually, because they had unity hostels, and the boys would be taught to be an electrician. They'd be taught building, construction, and they would have the hostel for young people. The carpentry, Bruce King, that was the carpentry side where they taught them carpentry. Further up where the gym is now, that would have been where upstairs they would have had the sewing classes, where they would teach young women to sew. And Unity Restaurant was built with their bare hands, and they would teach catering. It was all about apprenticeships. And now we see how this all disappeared when it was taken over. And now it's going back that way so many years later that it's been seen that they had the vision to know that they needed to teach the young people apprenticeships. And it's only now that Westway Development is seeing that they need to teach the young people apprenticeships, because it's all about creating jobs, not for local people, by the way. That's where all the local community organisations have gone that way, creating jobs way, rather than creating service. They don't seem to be service-led anymore. It's not user-led anymore, it's staff-led. It's about the staff. If you really look at the local community at the moment, with all these organisations, Notting Hill Housing Trust was started by the Windward generation. It was, they lobbied the Methodist Church and got £2,000. Pansy Jeffries, who started the Pepper Pot Club, she got £2,000 from the Methodist Church, and they bought the first household too. And if you look at Notting Hill Housing Trust now, if you look at how top-heavy it is with the people, it doesn't reflect at all the local community, and it's gone. And it's a good thing that they're creating housing. They're supplying housing for so many people and whatever, and it's grown. But we need to see that generation created all that. They started all that, and we need to give them the credit for that. We need to record all this. We need to let the youth know the usefulness of that generation and their parents and their grandparents and what they did. We mustn't hide it under the guise of, new people have to do this and everything's new now and you've got to forget about the past. The English culture doesn't forget about the past. You just go to somebody's manor houses and you'll see the past there. They're under lock and key and guard in the Tower of London, the past. So you mustn't forget the past, because the past is part of the future.
I think my generation and the generations after me are respecting what Windrush generation, the sacrifices they made for us. Honestly, no, we're not respecting it, because if we was, it would be shown in our actions, and it's not. Our actions are one that doesn't reflect the struggle, and what we need to do as a community is we need to understand that this is a relay race. And each generation has a responsibility to pass down the baton of knowledge and education to the next generation, It's got taught through the maths.
On paper, I'm black, British, but within myself, I've got a lot of respect for where my parents are from, Jamaica, and I've been back to Jamaica several times, many times. But I feel guilty in a way, because I really don't consider that Jamaica as my home. And even though I'm born here in England, good old Wolverhampton, and that's a place I know more, I still don't consider that as my home either. So, I've never really found that sense of belonging anywhere, And if that's for me, then it must be the same for so many others. I've never really felt totally accepted here.